Hi friends, Gypsy Spirit here, and I wanted to give you a few tips for your New Year's healing, growing, and transformation. And I wanted to just use what I've done these past 8 years to be in a place where I just feel so much peace that passes understanding. And I just feel so humble and grateful and just calm, just a calm has come upon me, and I want that for you too. So I wanted to give you a little bit of backstory about me and then help you to know how to move out of stress, fear, anger, anxiety, and heal that trauma and move into what you truly are as loving awareness. So I was introduced to religion by my high school sweetheart. He was raised a Baptist. And so when we started dating when I was 15, 16, he invited me to church. And I eventually, after a year, went to youth camp and asked Jesus into my heart because I didn't want to go to hell. Because if you know anything about Baptists, they preach hell, fire, and damnation. So I was scared to death, and I asked Jesus into my heart, and I got baptized, and nothing changed in my life other than I started going to church regularly and being a Bible student. So then I ended up marrying my high school sweetheart, and we had 2 children. And after 10 years, we separated, and we ended up reconciling, which that's a whole nother video. Miraculous reconciliation. And I spent the next 33 years just being a very religious person and Christian and running lots of ministries. I was a Christian leader. And then about 8 years ago, a book by the name of A Course in Miracles came into my life at the perfect time because a few years prior, Holy Spirit, or God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, what I call the divine, impressed upon me or told me that I'm an identity theft restorer. I teach people what they truly are as a divine being and their purpose in life to free and empower them. And I was so excited, and I thought that I would be able to do this in my charismatic church, but they already had a program called Freedom Prayer where they taught their own version of identity as a Christian child of God, and so they weren't open to my teaching on identity or what I was learning through A Course in Miracles. And so at that time, I was doing all this inner healing and deconstruction and really going through the dark night of the soul, and I ended up helping a friend to heal of stage 4 cancer using this inner healing I was learning. And my son came out as gay during that time, and I was just in a place where I no longer agreed with the Christian teachings of duality, that we are these humans and we have a sin nature and we're separate from God and we're separate from everybody. All of that. I just couldn't agree with any of that anymore because that was, to me, an egotistical programming concept that I was shedding. So I just couldn't agree with that anymore. And 5.5 years, I left the church. And when I was going through the dark night of the soul, the divine kept waking me up at 2:22 a.m. And I just knew that when my eyes would pop open, I'd look at the clock and it said 2:22. It was time to get up and go do inner healing with the divine. And what I would do was what I dub heart surgery. They would have me do introspection, like, is there anything bothering me? There was always tons of things subconsciously bothering me. Sometimes I'd be like, no, I'm great, nothing's bothering me. And then they'd bring to my mind something I said, something I did, that I felt subconscious guilt or shame or regret or whatever. And so I would write out the situation and I'd write out how it affected me. And then I would have to tap in to the truth, meaning tap into them because they're the truth and the truth is within us, but it's just buried under all this ego stuff. And so I tap into the truth. What is the truth about this situation, about this other person, about myself? And then I would write out that truth and I would use that truth to know what to do next. Did I need to go have a conversation with somebody? Do I need to apologize? Do I need to change my perspective? So this just happened over and over and over for years, several years. And then I started to emerge as my true self. And I should say that I just threw away, in fact, yesterday, like 20 or 30 journals. And these were all conversations with the divine. And what I've been doing, rather than saving all these journals for like people to read, like my relatives to read after I've left this dimension, I take the gold nuggets from those precious times with the divine that I've written in my journal, and I record them in this little book. This is like my little Bible that I carry with me. And I wrote in it, these are conversations with Christ, words of wisdom from A Course in Miracles, golden nuggets on my awakening journey. This is my legacy, the scraps I leave behind for those seeking to find their way out of the darkness of the mind and into the light of Christ knowing. And then I wrote in here a little note, you are not a body. When you know this, you will be free and dwell in oneness as loving awareness. So I take the gold nuggets out of these conversations with the divine, and I record them in a little book. And really, right now, this book is for me, and I've been reading through it, and it's just beautiful reminders of so many things I've learned on this journey. So that's one thing that I've been doing. So I would encourage you to get up in the morning and to process what's bothering you. Do you have any doubts, worries, fears, unforgiveness, bitterness, stress, anxiety? And then do that little processing. Here's the situation. This is how it's affected me. Tap in and have a conversation with them about the truth, and then you'll know how to move forward. And then the truths that you don't want to ever forget, write them in a little book for yourself, and then this can be passed on to others. The other thing that I've done, starting this year, in fact, I pick a word for the year. And this year was badassery. The reason I picked badassery was because I wanted to really dive into my true self as Gypsy Spirit, and what that meant is being bold and courageous and not being fearful anymore of what people thought about me. So I was badassery. So a lot of those mornings spending with the divine, different things would come up in the conversations where I was badass. I did some bold, scary things, and so I would log it in this book. All the badassery. Badassery is to consistently be the essence of eternal love rather than being the self-centered ego. So it was just little things I just learned all this year about being your badass self. But this year, my new word is vigilance. So I'm so excited to start the next section of this book on vigilance. Now, the reason I do this book is because a lot of times we might pick a word for the year and you might think about it for a month or so and then forget about it. But if you're always revisiting that word, how was I badassery today? Or how was I badass yesterday? Or how was I vigilant today to be love? How was I vigilant to launch my mission and my message? Like, so if I'm always asking myself, how was I that word today? Whatever word you pick, it could be patience, it could be kindness. Um, and then write it down. The whole year you're focused on being that word. So now that I've been emerging into what I call the fifth dimension, the third dimension is when we're completely lost in our ego and we don't even really know we have an ego. We think all our thoughts, all the thoughts that come up are our own thoughts. We don't know that there's two voices in our mind. That's third dimension. You're just bombarded with stress, anxiety, doubts, worries, fears, and you're just really confused about how to heal. And then when you start actually doing the work I'm talking about, you're shifting into the fourth dimension and you're shedding that ego and your true self is emerging. So it's like the caterpillar in the cocoon. Now I've been shifting into the butterfly. So one of the things that I also help my clients with who are in the fourth dimension, they can do this. So if you're out there in the third dimension, this might sound crazy and you might not be able to do this yet. But if you do the work, the inner healing, you'll be able to do what I call shift. Shift in your mind, out of your body, and watch yourself engaging with people. And as you're practicing this, especially when you're triggered or you're upset about something and you just can't seem to calm down, be at peace, if you shift out of yourself and watch yourself, you experience immediately like a calmness. And you see that down here, you're just involved in this drama, like a movie or a play going on. But when you get too caught up in it, that's like your exit. You could just shift and watch yourself for a few minutes, even seconds, and it totally calms you down because this is reality. This is not. Okay? So I'd encourage you in stressful moments to see if you could just take some deep breaths and practice the shift, and you will immediately calm down. You won't have to try to find ways to repress or cope or ignore those feelings you're having. And so the last thing I want to share with you for the new year that you might want to try is to create an identity board. Okay, every year I've been creating these vision boards. I call them ego vision boards because the board about what it wants. And it's all these material things, right? That I want a new house or a new boat or a new car or a new job or whatever. It's all these materialistic things that a lot of it doesn't even happen because in order to manifest, it's beyond thought. You just need to know with confidence that something is happening and envision it. Those two, know and envision it. But if you're looking at a board of something you want, you're thinking about it with the ego mind, with words and desires and wants, instead of a knowing that it's already happening. Okay, so I've realized that my vision board was like self-sabotaging my efforts. So this year, my first year, I've created an identity board for Gypsy Spirit. So I'm super into yoga and I am loving awareness. That is my true identity. And my spirit animal is an owl. And I know that from studying the Enneagram, and I just really vibe with owls. And then over here, like I told you, I started being woken up at 2:22 and 1, 2, 3, 4, so 12:34 and 12:12 and 3:33. And I've realized all these numbers have meanings and significance. So when I wake up and my eyes pop open and I see synchronicity and numbers, I know because there's a message for me. There's a message awaiting me, or there's something the divine wants to teach me or wants me to process. This picture in the middle is me with the Divine Committee or the Trinity, and it's because of this. This just sums it up. This is a saying in the Course of Miracles. It's called "Take your place." Accept the holy instant. That shift I'm talking about, that's the holy instant. It's reality. It's what you are, which is one with the divine. Accept the holy instant as this year is born, and take your place so long left unfulfilled in the Great Awakening. Make this year different by making it all the same, and let your relationships be made holy for you. And on that note, I've just realized that when we're in the ego mind, we separate out people in our life. Oh, these are my core friends. These are the second group of friends. These are ministry friends. And when you come to know your oneness in the divine, you know everybody's in the divine. Everybody's one. And you look past bodysuits and you start knowing everybody is one in the divine. There's no division, okay? And lastly, I spend a lot of time writing, blogging, and doing videos. So this board, this is my identity board. We should be spending the vast majority of our time focusing on our identity. What are you really? You are loving awareness. You are love, joy, peace, gentle, good, kind. In the Bible, it says you are the light of the world. And I just posted recently that a few years ago, I was driving, I saw this beautiful rainbow in the sky. You know, when you see like the whole rainbow, it's like amazing. And the divine said to me, the rainbow is a reminder of what you truly are, which makes total sense because we are the light of the world, and which is really 7 colors of the rainbow. So it just all made sense. I'm like, oh my gosh, we need constant reminders of our identity as a divine being, of our oneness with loving, perfect loving awareness. So what better board to make than a reminder of what you are? So there you have it. I hope this has given you some ideas for the coming year, that you're going to start getting up early and doing your inner healing. You're going to start journaling. You're going to start conversing with the divine. You're going to take those gold nuggets and put them in your own little book as a reminder. And then pick your word. Pick your word for this year. Remember, mine is vigilance. And keep coming back to that word over and over and over so you don't forget about it and you take on the characteristics of that word. So I love you guys. Namaste. I send you love and light. And if you want more help from me, you can go on my website, gypsy-spirit.net. Or I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. Talk to you later, guys.